My father married my ex-girlfriend 2 months after our breakup. Their wedding invitation had a message that destroyed our family. I never thought I'd receive a wedding invitation that would make me question everything I knew about my own father. But there it was, sitting in my mailbox on a cold Tuesday morning, with elegant gold lettering that spelled out the names I never wanted to see together. David Morrison and Ashley Chen. My father and my ex-girlfriend, the woman I had planned to propose to just 3 months earlier. Let me take you back to where this nightmare actually began, because trust me, the wedding invitation was just the beginning of how twisted this story gets. 6 months ago, I was living what I thought was my perfect life. I'm Jake, 28 years old, working as a software engineer in Seattle. I had been dating Ashley for 2 years, and honestly, I thought she was the one. She was 26, ambitious, working in marketing, and we just clicked in every possible way. Or so I believed. My father, David, was 52 at the time. He'd been divorced from my mom for about 5 years after a marriage that had slowly fallen apart over 2 decades. The divorce was amicable enough. They just grew apart, wanted different things. My mom had actually remarried a year ago to a great guy named Tom, and she seemed genuinely happy. My dad, on the other hand, had been single the entire time, claiming he was focusing on his career as a financial consultant and wasn't ready to date again. I should have seen the signs. I really should have. It started about 8 months ago when I brought Ashley to a family barbecue at my dad's house. It was summer, the weather was perfect, and I was excited for her to spend more time with my family. My younger sister, Emma, was there. My mom and Tom stopped by, some cousins, the usual crowd. Ashley and my dad talked for a while that day. I remember thinking it was nice that they were getting along so well. He was asking her about her career, her goals, where she saw herself in 5 years. I thought he was just being a good father, showing interest in his son's girlfriend. But then she started mentioning him more often. "Your dad gave me some great career advice today. I had coffee with your father. He's helping me network with some people in his company. David thinks I should consider going back for my MBA." David. She started calling him David instead of Mr. Morrison. I told myself I was being paranoid. My dad was a mentor figure, successful in his field. It made sense that he'd want to help Ashley advance her career. And Ashley was ambitious, always looking for the next opportunity to climb the ladder. It seemed natural. Then came the breakup. 3 months ago, Ashley sat me down in our apartment and told me she didn't think we were compatible anymore. She said she'd been doing a lot of soul searching and realized we wanted different things in life. I was devastated. I had literally been looking at engagement rings the week before. I had the ring picked out, was planning to propose during a trip we had scheduled to Vancouver. I asked her if there was someone else. She looked me straight in the eye and said no. She said this was about her needing to focus on herself, on her career, on figuring out what she really wanted. She moved out within a week. The next month was hell. I threw myself into work, spent a lot of time with friends, did the whole post-breakup healing thing. My dad was actually really supportive during this time. He'd call me regularly, take me out to dinner, let me vent about the relationship. He told me I'd find someone better, that Ashley clearly wasn't ready for the kind of commitment I wanted. He seemed like he was being a good father. I'm such an idiot. 2 months after the breakup, the invitation arrived. I stared at it for probably 10 minutes straight, my brain refusing to process what my eyes were seeing. The wedding was scheduled for 3 weeks away. 3 weeks! They'd already planned everything, sent out invitations, booked a venue. My hands were shaking as I pulled out my phone and called my dad. He answered on the 3rd ring, his voice cheerful and completely unbothered. "Jake, hey, did you get the invitation?" "Are you kidding me right now?" My voice came out as barely more than a whisper. "Dad, what the hell is this?" I know this might come as a surprise. A surprise? A surprise? You're marrying my ex-girlfriend 2 months after we broke up, and you think this is just a surprise? He sighed, and I could picture him doing that thing where he pinches the bridge of his nose like I'm being unreasonable. Jake, I understand you're upset, but Ashley and I are both adults. What we have is real. We didn't plan for this to happen, but when you meet your soulmate, you can't let them go just because the timing is complicated. Complicated? You're my father. She was my girlfriend. When did this even start? Nothing happened while you two were together, if that's what you're implying, he said, and I could hear the defensiveness in his voice. Ashley and I connected after your breakup. We bonded over the situation, and feelings developed naturally. Naturally, right. So you just happened to fall in love with my ex-girlfriend within weeks of her leaving me? Jake, I'm not going to apologize for finding happiness. Your mother and I have been divorced for years. I'm allowed to move on with my life. And you and Ashley had broken up. She was free to see whoever she wanted. But why her? Out of every woman in the world, why did it have to be her? Because she's special, Jake. She's intelligent, driven, beautiful, and she makes me feel alive again, in a way I haven't felt in years. I'm sorry if that hurts you, but I'm not giving her up. I hung up on him. I couldn't listen to another word. The next call was from my sister, Emma. She was crying before she even said hello. Jake, I can't believe this is happening. I confronted Dad last week when I found out, and we had this huge fight. He basically told me to mind my own business and that I should be happy for him. Did you know before the invitation? I asked. I found out about 3 weeks ago. I saw them together at a restaurant downtown. I thought maybe it was just a work thing at first, like he was still mentoring her or whatever. But then I saw him kiss her, Jake. I confronted him right there in the parking lot, and that's when he told me they were engaged. Engaged? They got engaged after dating for what, a month? He says they've been seeing each other since about 2 weeks after your breakup. Said they fell hard and fast, and at his age, he doesn't want to waste time. I felt sick. 2 weeks. She'd waited 2 weeks after ending a 2-year relationship with me before jumping into bed with my father. But here's where it gets even worse. Remember how I said the invitation had a message that destroyed our family? I haven't told you about that part yet. Inside the invitation, there was a personal note. It was printed on a separate card in Ashley's handwriting, and this is what it said. Dear Jake, we know this situation is unconventional, and we understand if you need time to process, but David and I have found something truly special, something I never experienced in my previous relationship. We hope that you can find it in your heart to be happy for us and to attend our celebration of love. Your father would be heartbroken if you weren't there to witness his happiness. Life is too short to hold grudges. Love, Ashley and Dad. Dad. She signed it Dad. She had the audacity to refer to my father as Dad in a note addressed to me about their wedding. And that line about never experiencing something truly special in her previous relationship, that was a direct shot at what we had. She was basically telling me that our 2 years together meant nothing compared to her few weeks with my father. I showed the note to Emma, and she was furious. She immediately called our mom to tell her everything. My mom, to her credit, was absolutely horrified. She called my dad, and apparently they had a massive argument where she told him he was being selfish and cruel and that he was destroying his relationship with his children for a woman he barely knew. His response? You remarried, why can't I find happiness too? The situation exploded across our entire family. My grandparents on my dad's side were appalled. My grandmother called him and said she wouldn't be attending the wedding, that this was disgraceful behavior. My father's brother, my Uncle Mike, called me to apologize on behalf of the family and said he'd already told my dad he thought this was a mistake. But my dad and Ashley, they doubled down. They posted pictures together on social media with captions about true love and soulmates and not letting others dictate their happiness. Ashley posted a long message about how love comes when you least expect it and how she'd finally found her forever person. The comments were interesting. Some of their friends were supportive, saying things like age is just a number and love is love. But a lot of people were clearly uncomfortable. I saw comments asking how they met, and Ashley would respond vaguely about being introduced through mutual connections. She never mentioned that those mutual connections were her ex-boyfriend's family barbecue. I decided I needed to talk to Ashley directly. I needed to understand how this happened. How could she do this? I called her, and surprisingly, she answered.
Jake, I'm glad you called. I was hoping we could talk about this like adults. Adults? Ashley, you're marrying my father. You started dating him weeks after you broke up with me. How is any of this adult behavior? I didn't plan for this to happen, Jake. After we broke up, your dad reached out to check on me. He knew I was going through a hard time. We started talking, and there was this connection. He understood me in ways that... She paused. Look, what we had was nice, but it wasn't real compatibility. David and I are on the same wavelength. We want the same things. He's mature, established, and he treats me like an equal partner. So I didn't treat you like an equal partner? You were always talking about the future in this abstract way, but David is actually living the life I want. He has the career success, the financial stability, the life experience. With you, I always felt like I was waiting for you to catch up to where I wanted to be. So you were just using me until someone better came along, and that someone happened to be my father? It's not like that. My feelings for you were real at the time, but people grow, Jake. They change. They realize what they really need. And I need someone who can match my ambition, who can open doors for me, who can be a real partner in building the life I want. And there it was. The truth. Ashley was a gold digger, and my father was her ticket to the life she wanted. He had the money, the connections, the established career. I was just a stepping stone. Does he know you're with him for his money and status? That's not fair. I care about David deeply. The fact that he's also successful is just a bonus. You're making this about superficial things when it's really about genuine connection. Genuine connection, right. Tell me, Ashley, when did you actually start having feelings for him? Be honest for once. She was quiet for a long moment. The barbecue. That day at his house. We talked for hours while you were off playing cornhole with your cousins. He was so interesting, so accomplished, and he was interested in me, really interested. Not just as his son's girlfriend, but as my own person. He saw potential in me that you never did. I supported your career constantly, Ashley. I celebrated every promotion, every success. You supported me, sure, but David elevated me. There's a difference. Look, I'm sorry this hurts you. I really am. But I can't put my happiness on hold because the timeline makes you uncomfortable. The timeline? Ashley, it's been 2 months. When you know, you know. David proposed after 3 weeks because he said at his age, he's learned not to waste time when something is right. That's the kind of decisiveness I need in a partner. I hung up on her too. I couldn't stomach another word of her justifications. The next 2 weeks were a blur of family drama. Emma refused to attend the wedding and told my dad she was seriously considering cutting him out of his life entirely. My mom's side of the family rallied around Emma and me, making it clear they thought my dad's behavior was reprehensible. Even some of my dad's own friends started backing away, uncomfortable with the situation. But my dad had Ashley's family on his side. Apparently, her parents loved him. He was successful, stable, and her daughter was going to have the life they'd always wanted for her. They didn't care that he was 26 years older or that he was his ex-boyfriend's father. They saw dollar signs and social status. 3 days before the wedding, my dad showed up at my apartment. I almost didn't let him in, but curiosity got the better of me. He looked tired. For the first time in this whole mess, he actually looked like maybe the weight of what he'd done was getting to him. Jake, I need you to understand something. I'm not doing this to hurt you. I'm doing this because I'm in love. You're doing this because you're having a midlife crisis and a pretty young woman gave you attention. You're not in love. You're infatuated. There's a difference. I'm 52 years old. I know the difference between infatuation and love. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, you threw away your relationship with both your kids for a woman you've known for less than 3 months. That doesn't sound like love. That sounds like obsession. Ashley is not just some woman. She's going to be my wife.
She's going to be part of this family, and I need you to accept that. Part of this family? Dad, she is part of this family. She was my family. She was supposed to be my wife. I was going to propose to her. Did she tell you that? I had a ring picked out. I was planning a whole romantic proposal in Vancouver. He looked genuinely surprised. No, she didn't mention that. Of course she didn't, because that would make her look bad, wouldn't it? She left me right before I was going to propose, and within 2 weeks she was in your bed. Do the math, Dad. Do you really think the timing is coincidental? What are you implying? I'm implying that she knew. Somehow, she knew I was going to propose and she left before I could. And then she immediately latched on to the richest, most successful man she had access to, which happened to be you. That's ridiculous. Ashley loves me for who I am, not for my money. Keep telling yourself that, but ask yourself this. If you were still the struggling consultant you were 20 years ago, would she have given you a second look? If you didn't have the big house, the successful career, the connections, would she be marrying you? He didn't have an answer for that. I can't come to your wedding, Dad. I can't watch you marry her and pretend like this is okay. Emma can't either. You're choosing Ashley over your kids. I hope she's worth it. It doesn't have to be a choice, Jake. I want both. I want my family and I want Ashley. But you can't have both. You've made sure of that. The moment you decided to date my ex-girlfriend, you made a choice, and it wasn't us. He left without another word. The wedding happened without Emma and me, without my grandparents, without Uncle Mike. From what I heard through the family grapevine, it was a small ceremony with mostly Ashley's family and a few of my dad's friends who either didn't know the full story or didn't care. But here's the thing that really destroyed our family. 2 weeks after the wedding, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was a woman named Jennifer, and she said she was a former coworker of Ashley's. "I'm sorry to bother you," she said, "but I heard about your father's marriage to Ashley, and I thought you should know something. Ashley and I worked together for about a year, and she used to talk about her dating strategy pretty openly. She called it dating up. She was very intentional about only dating men who could advance her career or social status. When she started dating you, she told me it was because you worked at a good tech company and she thought you had potential. But she was always keeping her options open." My blood ran cold. Keeping her options open how? She was on multiple dating apps the entire time you two were together, but she had her filters set to only show men making 6 figures or more, preferably older and established. She showed me her profile once. It said she was looking for a mature, successful partner. When she met your father at that family event, she literally told me she'd hit the jackpot. A rich, lonely divorcee who was clearly vulnerable. She said she was going to break up with you and go after him. She planned it from the beginning? She planned it from that barbecue day. She told me your dad was exactly what she'd been looking for. Successful, established, single, and clearly interested in her. She said she just had to play it right, make it seem natural, not rush things too obviously. The breakup, the reconnecting afterward, all of it was calculated. I felt like I was going to be sick. Why are you telling me this now? Because what she did was cruel, and your father deserves to know what kind of person he married. And you deserve to know that none of this was your fault. She used you to get close to him. You were always just a means to an end. I thanked Jennifer and sat in my apartment for hours, trying to process this information. Part of me wanted to call my dad immediately and tell him everything, but another part of me thought, what's the point? He's married to her now. He made his choice. Would he even believe me? I decided to tell Emma first. She was furious and wanted to confront Dad immediately, but I stopped her. What's it going to accomplish? He'll just think we're making it up because we're bitter about the marriage. He's so infatuated with her that he won't see the truth even if we lay it out in front of him. So we just let him stay married to a con artist? We let him figure it out on his own. And he will, eventually. Ashley will show her true colors. Women like her always do. She'll push for a bigger house, expensive cars, luxury vacations. She'll want access to his accounts, control over his finances. And when she thinks she has everything secured, she'll probably start looking for the next upgrade. It's just a matter of time. Emma reluctantly agreed, but she made me promise that if we got any more evidence of Ashley's true nature, we'd tell him. That was 3 months ago. My father and Ashley are still married, living in his house, posting their picture-perfect life on social media. Ashley has already quit her job, saying she wants to focus on being a supportive wife. She's redecorated his entire house, traded in his sensible sedan for a luxury SUV, and convinced him to buy a vacation home in Palm Springs. My relationship with my father is essentially non-existent. We don't talk. He sent a few messages saying he hopes we can rebuild our relationship, but he's never once apologized or acknowledged that what he did was hurtful. Emma has completely cut him off. The family gatherings are awkward now. Holidays are split, events are coordinated to make sure Ashley and my dad aren't around when Emma and I visit other family members. My mom has been amazing through all of this, providing support and validation that what Dad did was wrong. And me? I'm doing okay, honestly. The initial devastation has faded into acceptance. I dodged a bullet with Ashley. If she hadn't left me for my father, I might have actually married her, and who knows what kind of hell that would have been. At least now I know exactly who she is. I've started dating again, taking things slow, being more careful about red flags. I'm in therapy, working through the betrayal and trust issues this whole situation created. But the hardest part is grieving the relationship with my father, the dad I thought I knew, the man who taught me to ride a bike and helped me with homework and gave me advice about life. That person doesn't exist anymore. Or maybe he never existed at all. Maybe he was always capable of this kind of selfishness, and I just never saw it. Sometimes I wonder if he ever thinks about what he gave up. Does he lie awake at night and think about his kids? About the grandkids he might never have a relationship with now? Does he realize that Ashley's love is conditional on his bank account? Does he see the way she looks at her phone when she thinks he's not watching? Or is he so deep in denial that he can't see the truth even when it's staring him in the face? I'll probably never know. And maybe that's okay. Some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. Some betrayals are too deep to forgive. The wedding invitation that destroyed my family is still sitting in a drawer somewhere in my apartment. I kept it not because I want to torture myself, but as a reminder that the people closest to you can hurt you the most. A reminder that love isn't always enough to overcome selfishness and betrayal. A reminder that family is what you make it, not what you're born into. My father made his choice. He chose Ashley over his children, over his parents, over the relationships he'd built over decades. And now he has to live with that choice. As for me, I'm choosing to move forward. I'm choosing to surround myself with people who value loyalty and integrity. I'm choosing to build a life with people who would never dream of betraying me the way Ashley and my father did. And maybe someday, when Ashley inevitably moves on to her next target, my father will realize what he lost. But by then, it'll be too late. Some doors, once closed, stay closed forever.